All right, so on our journal here, like I said, we have some of the types of chemical reactions. Not all of them, because obviously I ran out of room. But this is what we did on Friday. All right, so on the first one, when I start with only one reactant, what type would that be? That's right. This is a decomp. Start with one reactant and break it down into something simpler. Second one, I have an element, but the giveaway is that I end up with only one product. That is right. That's synthesis. That's what we're going to be doing today. And then my last one, a hydrocarbon plus oxygen, and I always have these same two products. Combustion. Perfect. Combustion, that's right. So today we're going to be doing synthesis. You will Lowry. Somewhere here she would Lowry. You can use those to drop a little daily grade. You can add 5 points to a test if you don't have a low really daily grade that you can worry about dropping. Hold on to. All right, so we're going to go to our notes and pick up where we were left off and talk just about synthesis reactions today, and then do some work with those. Got it? All right, let's get to my notes. All right. All right, we are going to go down here at the bottom of the notes where you're working on Friday. So get these a little bit larger. So we're going to be talking about synthesis reactions. It's when two or more simple substances, it can be an element or a compound, combine to form one complex substance. And the giveaway is that we only have one product. And when you talk about any type of reaction, they always follow some pattern. So here, if we're talking about synthesis reactions, there's always going to follow some pattern to get to just that one product. It's not random. So we're going to go over that a little bit, and then we'll look at our worksheet. So the first one that we'll see is a synthesis reaction, and you can take out group 1 and 2 because it can be any metal. A metal may combine with a non-metal to form a salt, which in chemistry that's just another name for an ionic compound. So if you go back to what we did earlier, metal plus non-metal gives you an ionic compound. So that's what we have here. We just have a metal plus a non-metal, and they simply combine to give me some ionic compound. That's going to be kind of our simplest one. The next one is when I have now, instead of a metal, I have two non-metals, and that comes together to form a molecular compound, which is another word for a covalent compound. So carbon is a non-metal, oxygen is a non-metal, and they come together to form a covalent compound, still only one product. The next one is one that you probably sometimes is a little bit difficult to predict. If I have a compound plus a compound, they can come together to form a single product. And as long as it's just one product, it's still considered a synthesis reaction. That one's probably the hardest one to predict. The next one, if I have a metallic oxide, and a metallic oxide is just a metal combined with oxygen. So like this one example, this would be magnesium oxide. That's a metallic oxide. It combines with water to form, it should be an acid. If you'll take that away, it should be a base. Oops. And the type of base is a hydroxide, which is your OH group. That's one of your polyatomic ions on your ion sheet. So if I have a metallic oxide in water, it comes together to form a metallic hydroxide. The metal that you start with, so in this case is magnesium, is going to be the same metal that it's going to be in the hydroxide. The next one, I still have a metal oxide, but now I'm combining it with carbon dioxide, and it's going to yield a metallic carbonate. Carbonate is your CO3 group, and it has a -2 charge. Once again, from your polyatomic ion list. So metallic oxide plus carbon dioxide always combines like that. So when you work through these, as we get to, has everybody got that? I'm gonna have to move my thing. As we start on the worksheet, you're gonna have to refer back to this, unless you get it all memorized real quick. All right, everybody got this? Okay. Yes, okay, I'm gonna move it up. So I can see. Oh. Jesus, I've given you you've had 2 sets of notes.
I'm just going to take a picture.
Where was that? I did that one. All right. Was that on metallic oxide plus sulfur dioxide? Yes. Was that on this one right here, y'all? Was I on? Am I on this one?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So this one is a metallic oxide, so still a metal with oxygen plus sulfur dioxide. Now comes together to form a metallic sulfite. And sulfite is an SO3, and it has a -2 charge. Next one, I have a non-metallic oxide. So that's going to be a non-metal combined with oxygen. And it comes together with water, and it's going to form an acid, and it's an oxy acid. So remember, if it's an acid, the hydrogen has to be written first. So that's why you have your H2SO4, and you just put them together, H2, and then the rest of it's going to be a polyatomic ion. So you take your 1 sulfur and add up your oxygen to get that. The last one I'm going to get y'all to write in, it's not on here, is a metallic chloride plus oxygen yields a metallic chlorate. And the chlorate is ClO3 with a -1 charge. All those that I'm writing are polyatomic ions, and then I'm putting their charge. So an example of that would be sodium chloride, which is just table salt, comes together with oxygen. And remember, when oxygen's all by itself, you have to make it diatomic. And that's going to yield a metallic. So the metal in this case is sodium chlorate, ClO3. There's There's my metal, there's my chlorate. And then the last step on that would be to balance it. So I think this one, to get it balanced, what do we need here? We need a 3 and a 2. So those are 8 different kinds. So you may need to kind of refer back to those as you do your worksheet. So that's what we're looking at on our worksheet. We're looking at our different synthesis reactions. And look at the very bottom or the back. And there's like a little bank. That's where you're going to be pulling your products from. Because a lot of times there's some difficulty on writing the products. And so if you write those wrong, then you're going to get the equation wrong and not be able to balance it. So we're going to be using this little bank. The next few worksheets that we're doing will have that little bank on them where you can pull your things from. All right, so virtual students, if you'll go into daily work. Oops, did I forget to put today? No, today's the 19th. We're going to be working through these equations and we're going to be finishing them, and then you're going to need to balance them. And like I was telling my students, if you look at the second page at the bottom, that's where you're going to be pulling your products from. So once you use one, then scratch it out so you won't use it again. All right, so let's just work through a few of these. These are all synthesis reactions. You can see that they all have only one product. So they're going to be synthesis reactions. So my first one is just a metal. You don't have to write all this if you don't want to, plus a nonmetal. And we said that those just will come together to form an ionic compound. So calcium plus oxygen comes together to form calcium oxide. So that happens to be the very first one on your product list. Calcium's a +2, oxide's a -2, so we don't have to do any subscripts. So the last thing that we would need to do would be to balance it. So if I do my little tallies, I have calcium is 1, oxygen is 2. Over here, I have 1 of each. And most of these that we're doing today, they're really easy to balance. You may not even feel the need to go through this part. But if you can see, my oxygen is off. I have 2 on my reactant side and only 1 on my product side. So I'm going to put a 2 in front of my calcium oxide, which changes my oxygen, but it also changes my calcium. But that's okay because it's real easy to come back over here and put a 2 in front of my calcium to get that to match up. And that would be my final balanced synthesis reaction. The next one is the same thing. Copper plus sulfur comes together to form copper sulfide. The metal keeps the same name. The nonmetal, the ending changes to "ide." So if you look at your bank, which one of those formulas is going to match up there? Yeah, just CUS, right? Copper sulfide. Copper is a +2, sulfide is a -2, so I didn't have to get any subscripts. Do I need to do anything to balance this one? No. Nope, it's already balanced, right? Everything already has 1, 1, 1, 1, so I don't have to do anything. So that one would be written correctly as soon as you got your right product. Now we have one finally that's a little bit different. Calcium oxide, so that's a metal oxide plus water comes together to form a calcium hydroxide. And I had told you on the notes that a hydroxide is your OH. So which one of those on your bank is going to be my calcium hydroxide? The very last one on the second. Not row. What is that called? It's not a row. That's a, anyway, this one's the very last one on the list. CaOH2. The The reason this 2 is right here is because calcium's a +2, hydroxide is a -1, so I have to put a 2 there. Do I need to do anything to balance this one? Let's see, let's just jot it down. Calcium, I have 1. Hydrogen, I have 2. It is balanced, isn't it? Because oxygen, if I look, I have 1 here and 1 here, so that gives me 2. And over here, I have 1 calcium. Hydrogen, I have 2, and oxygen, I also have 2. So that is actually balanced. I would not have to give any coefficients. All right, so that's what y'all are going to do on the rest of them. See what you have, and then match it up with what you can have out of your products. And then check and see if it needs to be balanced, would be your last step. And I will come around in just a minute and see who needs help. Can you not, Daddy, do you need to see this? You want to see it here? Can you see it here better? Virtual students, did y'all have any questions? So for my virtual students, you're just going to continue on. And just as you use one up in the products section on this little bank, then cross it out so you won't use it again. There may be more that you might come across that are already balanced, so check that. And if not, they should be pretty simple to balance. I'm going to be walking around, see if anybody needs help here. So if y'all need help, then please unmute and ask for it. I may not see it in the chat.